folks, we're back. After 6 months, this is a new live show of Worthen One-on-One. And, two great men said, I'll be back. One is the least Republican I ever liked, Arnold. The other is the Republican that my family was for president in 1952. His name was General Douglas MacArthur, and he promised to come back, and he did. So we've got a series of shows coming up. Hopefully we'll be able to make this work and do, 4 or 5 shows in the next 8 weeks. All new people, or slightly used people. But they are people that, when we got cut off, I had 5 shows arranged, from the foresters to Greek Orthodox to candidates, and to an author. And it was very disappointing when the virus hit us, as it is when it hit everybody, and very disappointing. I've had people ask why Channel 17 closed down when Channel 3's up, and I just found out today they're part of a national system, and the national system of community access TV all chose that they had to close down, even though I felt we were essential. I really did. Till today, I was upset that we weren't on the air every night telling you what was going on, because we'd have done a better job with our time than any of the other media did in their 3 or 4 minutes. So it's really unfortunate. I know I've had many people come and say, I saw your show, but isn't that the same one I saw 3 months ago? Well, God bless the station and the people there. They kept repeating our shows from the previous couple of months, so most of our shows were repeated 5 or 6 times, but it was better than not, as they say. We're today at the Breakwater, where the Endless Summer and the other restaurants closed down and were sold to a wonderful family from Solvang that I've known for many years. In fact, my son, 20 years ago, his second job was a waiter for the Greenhouse restaurant and the Peterson family. Aaron Peterson was the manager. They have Mortenson's Bakery for 50 years. My friend and mentor, Earl Peterson, who was the guy who created the architecture of Solvang. When he came to town, it was a little Spanish town with a windmill and a bunch of Danes. And he is the guy who talked people into following the motif. And so Aaron is his son, great football player, was a quarterback at UCSB just till they did away with football at UCSB. Family oriented, they still own Mortenson's. Well, Aaron opened Chomps in Solvang, and they have another restaurant, I'm sorry, I forget its name. And when this opportunity came up, Aaron jumped at it. He felt that this, although it had been here 20 years, that this restaurant area was not serving the families and the people. It was serving tourists mainly, and so the menus here at Salty's, which is open upstairs, and here where we're on the patio, will open in 2 weeks, has the same menus as Chomp. When you look at the menu, you're going to think the prices and everything are 3 years ago, and they're aimed at the average person and families. So be ready to come down here and enjoy it as Santa Barbarans, and bringing your friends, where they don't have to worry about spending $30 or $40 before they get out. It's back. They can come here, and I was here the other night at Salty's, and I was able to get 2 appetizers and, 2 glasses of wine, and with someone else, so we got out for $25. So, no, it was $35 with my drinks. Anyway, great prices. We really appreciate Aaron Peterson providing this for us. We tried to get him to come and be introduced, but you know, he said, "I'm here working. I look like heck." And I said, "No, you look great." But so look forward to spending time at Salty's and Chomps in the building that the Maritime Museum's in. You can see the background of the harbor. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. My guest today is Charles Cole. This young man I met less than a year ago, and I was so impressed with his ability to think through the problems and to come up with conservative, libertarian, rational answers. So we're going to get an update. Charlie, may I call you Charlie?
Why not? Yeah.
Would you rather be called Charles?
Personally, yes, but I've known you long enough. I accept it.
I'll defer. Charles, you're running for the Assembly. Describe the district and who's in it now. It's an open seat now.
Yeah, it's an open seat. It's the 37th State Assembly District. It goes from Solvang down to the ocean, to Gaviota, all the way down to Oxnard, up to Piru, and then all the way up almost to Fraser Park, and then straight over across.
Yeah, so it covers all of Ventura, most of Ventura County.
Most of Ventura County. It has about 470,000 voters in it.
And another 250,000 in Santa Barbara County?
Or so, yeah.
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 So it's
a pretty even 50-50 split.
Yeah. Heavily Democrat district.
Heavily Democrat. They say plus 22. I'm not believing it from what I see.
Yeah. So who holds the seat now?
Monique Limon. She's moving up to state Senate. She will be running against Gary Michaels. So be sure to vote for him.
Yeah, it's a time to forget party.
Yeah.
That the party that rules our state overwhelmingly. Anything wrong in our state, the Republicans can't be blamed for.
They cannot. Look at what they've done. They've destroyed the jobs economy, destroyed the energy sector. They shut down our economy more stringently than most other states. And then they say, "Oh, we're going more and more into debt." Of course you are. You completely ruined your economy. What do you expect?
And only third or fourth across the country, they killed elderly people.
Yeah.
They put them back in their rest homes, didn't immediately.
They did that in Washington. They did that in New York, New Jersey.
Yeah.
That's literally killing people.
Yeah.
They yell at Republicans for not caring about people. You sent sick people into nursing homes. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, it's a travesty. I've been criticized for using the term elder genocide, but that's exactly what the governor of New York did.
Yeah.
He put people back in, didn't take advantage of all the ship and the hospitals built by the president.
Didn't take advantage of any of that.
And killed 15,000 elderly people in that state.
Probably more.
And in California, it's 6,000 or 8,000.
Yeah.
Again, some of the same.
Los Angeles did that, and they completely just shut it down.
Do you have a theory on why they did it?
I don't want to get into conspiracy theories or anything, but I'm assuming it's to hurt the president and try to make him look bad, saying, "Oh, look, all these people are dead under his watch." No, that was under your watch. You are the governor of this state, and you let this happen. He can't do much at the federal level, and you know that as per the Constitution.
Well, you're a constitutionalist, and that's something that people are missing. I've even had this morning, I had a woman say, "Well, I'm not going to vote for either one of them because Trump hasn't taken care of the problem. I won't vote for the other guy." And I said, this is a federal system. It's a republic, and the federal government can only do so much. They can provide, like he has, the ventilators and everything, but he can't order the governor to do anything.
You cannot order governors to do anything. Per the Constitution, everyone forgets about the Constitution. That is our basis of law and order in this country. Once you go against that, you've got nothing left.
Well, and it's worked fantastically for 40 of the states. You know, that have been able to do it on their own and answer the problems on their own and just get help from FEMA or the uh, CDC
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the FA. You know, they provide information. How do you feel about, without making local people mad, how do you feel about the local county board of supervisors, city, and the people we see on TV telling us what to do who aren't elected?
I will tell you something. In Ventura, what they have done is a travesty. They go out, they shut everyone down, they shut down all the meetings, the supervisor meetings that are supposed to be open to the public. They shut those down, don't allow public comment. If you miss your time, oh well, too bad, sucks for you. And then they go out, shut down all these businesses under, I call it false pretenses. You're not Los Angeles. You're not New York City. You're never going to be one of those things. You're not going to be any of those.
Yeah, it's we as of today are moving to a better level in California and in Santa Barbara County particularly, and I guess in 2 weeks in Ventura County, San Luis a week ahead of us, and all of a sudden they're saying you can have 25% in your churches.
Maybe that came after Pastor Rob got sued by Ventura County.
Yeah, there are churches, Pastor Rob in Ventura County.
Cavalry Chapel.
I think it's Grace Church in LA that holds meetings every week for months of 3,000 people. I bet the bureaucrats are just crying out for 300 people dying in that church.
Oh, you know they are. They hate the people. They only love their system.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
In my church, 3 people that every Sunday I would get to see and say, George Goodall, how are you? How's it going? We knew he was sick and on the decline, but I was able to get this close to him.
Yeah.
And then he passed away, and for 15 weeks I didn't get to do that.
Yeah.
Now, I felt cheated. I'm sure he missed the interaction, not Jim Worthen, but the interaction.
Yeah.
And there was another gentleman, same thing, you know, that even with him I'd elbow before COVID, you know.
Yeah, even then.
Yeah, because he was old and on the decline.
It's the just in case. Like if you're worried about it, you do the elbow thing. If you're not, you go in for a handshake. It's all the personal attentiveness.
You based your campaign on the Constitution, the rule of law, and
Fiscal responsibility.
Fiscal responsibility.
Yeah.
And with a libertarian bent, not just a conservative.
I started out as a libertarian, and then I kept looking at their party, and they're pretty much another arm of the left now. And a lot of their things I can't get behind anymore. And then I looked more and more at the Republican standings, and I agree with it. You lower taxes, more individual freedoms, which the Libertarian Party was supposed to be about, and I switched parties.
A lot of the libertarians have become Republicans, and the blessing of the Republican Party, you and other libertarians have an influence on the old guard, candidly bureaucratic and business-oriented, business being corporate-oriented. Republicans.
That side of the Republican Party, I have been fighting them. I actually have been. I've been going after them. They say, oh, you need to change all of this about your platform. I say, no, this is what I believe. If you don't like that, come talk to me. But don't just say, oh, you have to change your whole ideal system because we don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm not
well,
going to do that for them.
I'm aging myself a bit, but this kind of battle has gone on before you were born. They were called Rockefeller Republicans. And we fought them, and finally got, we lost with Goldwater, but we won with President Reagan, pardon me. So you get into the campaign. Well, first tell us a little bit, you're young, tell us a little bit about your family and background.
I was born here in Santa Barbara, and I've lived in this district for pretty much most of my life. Went to the city college for a few years, got accounting certificates, and went along with that. My family, half of it's fully on Bernie bro, the other half is fully on Trump supporter, can't stand Democrats. So I get both sides of the argument on that.
Well, you do tell the Bernie bros that the way the election's going, they can vote November 15th.
Yeah, yeah, I've told them that before.
They're not too bright, you know.
Some of them aren't.
Then they have a mental disorder. No, they're your family.
I'm staying out of that one.
Well, I've been shocked in the last 2 weeks with a friend in church and a very active person in the Republican Party saying, you know, I've a friend in church, I said, are you going to vote for Trump this time? And he looked at me and said, I voted the last time, but don't tell my wife. And same thing with the guy who's active in the Republican Party. He says, oh, I get up in the morning to watch the real news, and then my wife gets up and she turns on CNBC, and I go in and work on my computer.
Pretty much accurate.
Yeah.
When you go over there, they always have something on. They actually started getting pissed off at CNN and MSNBC because they're all ripping Bernie because they're the same corporate entities that we have on this side.
I think people misunderstand the word business. The top 500 corporations in this country are not in the business as we understand it.
Yeah.
They every time there's an economic downturn, they expect you and I, way down the totem pole, to pay taxes to bail them out.
I never liked the corporate bailouts. Not in 2008. Not after. Not now. I don't like them personally. But
yeah. Well,
some of them you do need. You do need to keep the airline businesses afloat for now. You do need to keep manufacturing afloat for now. Transport, because once everything comes back, you're going to need those services, and if you let them fall apart now, you're done.
Yeah, you're talking about infrastructure, not some of the new abusive big corporations
like Facebook, Apple, all those. Yeah, those guys are. They do a lot of very uncouth things with their business strategies, but.
Well, they have something when they were in their formation years ago, they were given a blanket liability.
Right.
So if they lie about you, you can't sue them.
You can't sue them.
And that's part of the problem that Republicans are fighting right now in dealing with schools and businesses, wanting to give them some protection against fraudulent lawsuits.
Yeah.
So that there are some bad people out there, and that's only 90% of the attorneys. Your dad's not an attorney, no.
No.
But I tell, there's an old saying we used to talk about minorities. Some of my best friends are.
Yeah.
Well, I always say some of my best friends are attorneys. You know?
Some are.
Yeah. So as you started campaigning,
yes,
you went and you filed. You paid to file, then you even paid in this county $6,000.
$6,100 or so, rounding up.
To have your mailer. How about Ventura County?
Ventura, the thing is, when in the primary, I wasn't actually told by the local GOP that I needed to send it into both counties, so I only did it for Santa Barbara County. So I didn't have the information.
So you thought it was for
both. That's what I was told by the local GOP. But that's here. That's gone.
Santa Barbara or Ventura?
Santa Barbara.
Well, we're cleaning it up.
Yeah,
we have a great chairman now,
trying
and
to clean it up.
She's done wonderful things,
but
some of the bureaucrats
everywhere. Everywhere. But this time I did put it into both. Ventura's was only $2,100. So 3 times less than there, and theirs went off without a hitch. They went out, the ballot statements went out before the ballots and everything else. Santa Barbara cost 3 times as much, and the ballots went out before the statements.
Yeah, I think a lot of our viewers received their ballots, and next week they're starting the end of this week and next week, and
I heard they're getting them to the post office today.
Yeah,
and then they'll be sent out later.
To be fair to Joe Holland, and is that if the ballots hadn't gone out till they were supposed to. They went out early.
Yeah, they went
weren't
out
supposed
early.
to even go out till October 5th. But they went out in September, and people had them by September 28th, 29th, and 30th.
Yeah.
And so when the statements, now that's the pamphlet that people are able to read about the candidates. We all got the pamphlet to read about the propositions, way ahead of pamphlet.
Yeah, that was months ago. Yeah.
But the every candidate, I mean, right down to the school board and
Joe Biden, Donald Trump,
Yeah.
even the high guys, all the low guys, sewer plant.
Yeah, and they those didn't go out. They should have gone out to hit now.
Yeah.
And the
Ballot
should have hit on the 5th.
Yeah. But that didn't happen. I'm still waiting for an explanation.
Well-
I've called. I just want to hear a yes or a no. Was this your mistake, or how are you going to make sure this doesn't happen again? I haven't gotten any response.
I think in our discussions, I've told you that I think it's because of the governor deciding to send out 20 million ballots when at least 5 million are to dead people or people who have moved, and the county clerks we're Republic, the county clerks have to administer that. So I think Holland, out of fear, where he has run mail-in ballots, and I've had a mail-in ballot in Santa Barbara for 15 years.
Absentee.
No. I choose to vote by mail.
Yeah, absentee balloting.
Yeah, and so he was handling probably 20,000 people like that. All of a sudden, he's got 200,000 people, and so I think he just was rushing ballots and buried by the false narrative and the bad move of our governor.
Yeah. I don't think this whole mail-in voting thing is a fantastic idea. It's not great. When you overload the system, when every single person gets a ballot, it overloads the system if you're not ready for it. And thus creates a backup. Things get sent out at the wrong time. Maybe some get discarded. That's already been shown to have happened.
Well, we have a friend, a supporter of yours, Bob Lovegren, who owns property in Isla Vista. He's sitting in the audience, so we can't say anything bad about him. But he has a 6-unit that has probably 40 students in it on the beach in Isla Vista. And every time there's stacks of ballots for people who haven't lived there in 2 years sitting there.
And you tell me mail-in voting's fair.
Yeah, you tell me that the kids living there, that if there's a real advocate, doesn't take them and mail them back. We know it for a fact that some do.
Well, I mean, Donald Trump said it himself. You don't have to like him, but he did say it. This whole election will be fraught with fraud. It doesn't matter on which side. This whole thing is going to be fraudulent.
And I think we have to remember, fraud in 100 million ballots cast, or 150 real.
Yeah.
Fraud of 10% even, and it's never been that much, but we've never had this kind of a distribution. But it's unlikely that will affect the election for president or senators.
Yeah.
But
the small districts like mine, sewer, school board, those are going to be affected hugely.
Yeah, if you get down to a district, a school district of 15,000 voters, and 15% are fraudulent, they're so close.
Yeah, you could get down to 5 votes being fraudulent, and then having to recount and recount and recount again. You won't know who won for about 4 or 5 months.
Well,
it's going to be ridiculous.
With our present system, there's a couple of hundred lower offices every year that end up in court or in recounts because they get so close. They end up in coin toss.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Good old Iowa primary, right?
Yeah. Now, as you're, you start your campaign and you're a real hands-on campaigner.
Oh, yeah.
You aren't in the basement or on your dad's couch, and let's start with Ventura County, because those of us will have some viewers in Ventura, but those of us here are interested in whether the dog and tail, who's pushing it. What are you running into there is what the people are concerned about.
Shutdown. The shutdown and unconstitutional restrictions placed upon them by the Board of Supervisors and their health official, Levin. Robert
Wait,
Levin.
what was he elected to?
He wasn't elected. He was placed into power by the Board of Supervisors. And my opponent, Steve Bennett.
Well, the interesting thing about these health directors in different counties, most of them were never practicing doctors.
Yeah.
They are doctors as coming up through getting a doctorate in administration.
And I mean, that's all the way up to the top, including the CDC. Dr. Fauci, I don't think he's seen a patient in, 27 years? These people don't actually see real people. They just follow the books, they get sent numbers, and they go, well, I guess I'll make this decision even though it's contradicting to everything else you have.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, the guy who set this all off in England, the Royal College guy, who got COVID early on from his mistress.
Yeah,
They both got it. And he was making the predictions of millions of people dying.
4.5 million people dying in America.
Yeah,
Sure.
and he was wrong about every
all accounts.
computer prediction he's ever made. In fact, if he was right about global warming, we'd be underwater right here now.
Yeah.
From what he predicted 25 years ago with global warming projections.
We can get into those predictions, and I can go on and on about those. But
Yeah, we've forgotten the old mantra early on, and I think a lot of you remember it. Early on, if you're over 40 years old, you remember the talk about computers. It was garbage in, garbage out. You get what's coming out telling you in a computer from what you put in, not from reality, but whatever you decide to put in. So that's why we have sea levels that are nowhere near Al Gore levels, nowhere near Santa Barbara. They were going to draw a blue line where the ocean would be. It was up at De La Guerra Plaza.
I did not even know that.
15 years ago, an artist wanted to draw it, and they gave him I think $15,000 to do it, and then it got recalled real quick when people just went crazy.
Yeah.
So
I believe that, especially in this county.
Sounds like we don't like anybody except there's a lot of people we like. You're you're running with other people.
Yeah,
You're running your own campaign, but you're glad to see the endorsements by different groups.
The Howard Jarvis Taxpayer Association has endorsed me. A lot of other groups have endorsed me. I'm still waiting on a few police precincts to call me back. There you go, if you're around. But I'm also happy that the GOP is actually coming together to endorse all these Republican candidates.
Well, they're going to do a show. They'll be on Santa Barbara.
That's coming next.
Santa Barbara Forum. They're going to do a show, and Bobby McGinnis, who said has done a tremendous job in helping recruit candidates and get money for them, down to the Goleta West Sanitation District.
Yeah, all the way down.
Yeah, Carpinteria City Council, everywhere.
Yeah,
and they, she said, well, we've got 53 endorsed candidates. I said, from Trump down? And she said, 54 with the president. She was more concerned about those locally from, Congress to Goleta West Sanitation District. And all those nonpartisan offices, we didn't endorse only Republicans. We can't by law.
Yeah.
It's a state law endorse a Democrat. There's some couple we wish we could have.
Yeah.
But we've probably, of that 53, I bet there's 10 that are, maybe 15 that are nonpartisan there.
Hey, how about, there you go, party line. Huh?
Yeah. Well, we're a big tent, unlike the other side.
You have to be a big tent. They just keep pushing everyone away. We welcome them in with a beer. Like, hey, come on, we'll hear your side of the story. Just sit down.
So, shutdown in Ventura, similar here in Santa Barbara?
Not as bad. Nowhere near as bad. But I would say Santa Barbara, the biggest issue would generally be the environment or the housing bills, because people in Santa Barbara do want to keep, most people I know in Santa Barbara do want to keep Santa Barbara small and local. But then comes the question, what are you going to do with all the people you bring in to California?
Yeah, well,
what are you going to do?
And
where are you going to put them? Just shove them all in Ventura?
As we've said, for probably 12 years, the Republicans have been in such a small minority in elected that we can say, oh, we want to keep Santa Barbara small, but the state government and the Obama guidelines require us to take another 9,000 people into the city.
You can't keep Santa Barbara small and keep bringing people into the city. That 9,000 person guideline, where are you going to put them? I keep saying that to everyone I talk to. Where are you going to put these people without building housing?
Yeah.
It doesn't come out.
So they're tearing down old housing, and they've even raised the traditional height limit in Santa Barbara by 10 feet.
Yeah. From 35 to 45.
Yeah, well, it's it's from 3 stories to 4 plus.
Average, yeah.
And we're seeing it. People are complaining about their view being blocked if they're down here, being blocked to the mountains, if they're up on the Riviera being blocked looking this way.
Well, I mean, pick one. You either vote people in that want to build housing.
Do you think, I wasn't sure I agreed with it, and some of my friends like Scott Wentz certainly didn't agree with it. Do you think in the county and city of Santa Barbara, breaking all of our sign and building codes and allowing the restaurants to build out into the streets and closing streets, is that better than it is in Ventura? And could that be part of the reason that we don't have the shutdown problem as much here as there?
I do believe so. I do. I've been thinking they should have done that for years. Since back in 2008, I was like, why don't they just shut the street down? No one's really using it very much. Well, everyone uses it, no parking. And there's no parking actually to get into from that street, so it's pretty much just a street. Might as well let the people use it like a promenade, like they did in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Look how that turned out. That turned out fantastic.
And that may be it isn't like that all over Ventura like it is here. You go to Solvang and the street's closed.
Yeah.
You go to Orcutt. You go other places.
Ventura Main Street's actually closed. They've been closed for about a month. And I went and talked to some business owners there last weekend. They said we were about to completely shut everything down and go out of business, and then the city of Ventura, not even the board of supervisors, allowed us to do this. So we're pretty much being able to keep us open.
COVID has taken lives, sadly.
Yeah.
But from the diagnosis that I've heard and talking to medical doctors, it probably isn't worse than the flu was in 2017. Not back.
Yeah, not back in it.
Not 100 years ago, but just 2 years ago when 170,000 people in this country died. So when you see how they manipulated some of the numbers, that's probably where COVID is. Didn't shut down for the flu.
Yeah, they never do because, well, I mean, also look at the comorbidity numbers. 94% died with COVID, not from COVID.
Yeah.
So you take those down, it drops to what, 9,000 people? Which is still too many. One person is too many. But this whole number of over 200,000 people, that's a falsity. And you know that is a falsity. And the CDC knows that, and that's why they were forced to put that 9,000 number out there that now everyone's ignoring because it doesn't fit the narrative.
Well, that goes back to them putting them in convalescent hospitals and stuff. I've had people that administer and who are in the medical profession say a lot of this is driven by where the money is.
Yep.
You know, the governor wants more money than he would get from a normal patient
Yep.
if they put it back and can.
You know how much money each patient is? From a medical person I know, I'm not going to say their name or right, $74,000 a patient, and then $32,000 per death.
Well, I had a doctor from the hospital up in Santa Maria say that the minute just for the ventilator is $32,000 a day, just for the ventilator. So they certainly want the person in the hospital and on a ventilator.
Yeah.
They didn't when they weren't working, the old ventilators of the Biden administration. But with the new modern ventilators, it's so much easier. But it's
Extremely.
very expensive.
Very, very, very
Follow
expensive.
the money.
You can do that with the whole medical dogma going around this whole COVID issue. The doctors get paid, the hospitals get money, the states get money, and then all the drug companies get money to try to find a vaccine. And then all that money goes to someone else who's doing prescriptions to try to get people prescribed with other things. And they're ignoring the cheapest alternative, which is hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah.
And yes, I will bring that up. I don't care if it gets me shut down. It's already gotten me kicked off of YouTube once. What are you going to do?
Really?
Yeah.
You got.
I've gotten kicked off for this, just saying stuff like that. A lot of my friends have. All these independent journalists gone. I've seen a few channels taken out because of it.
Well, two things that the federal government's able to do and the president's been able to do is drive down pharmaceutical prescriptions. And for the first time in 20 years, the average cost per person of prescriptions went down this year.
Yeah.
And now with him doing something that most of us don't like politically, but it's going to get the attention, and that is the ability for to purchase drugs overseas or demand that we get the same price.
Yeah.
Now, they don't like that, and people who believe in the marketplace don't like that idea to tie it to what Germany's doing. But
I personally don't like it, but if the people are getting screwed, why are we screwing our own people like that?
Yeah.
Shouldn't you want to help this country to build it greater instead of just get every person for every nickel and dime they have? How is that a good business strategy?
Well, if they are selling a drug in Germany for a certain price, they better sell it here, and that's
they better sell it here for that same price.
And
that's ridiculous.
That's what the president's forcing.
I don't like the forcing part of that, but I mean, what are you going to do at that
Well,
point?
I can take a little, I can take a little force short to correct a crime or a problem on the short time, for a little bit of time, but not permanently.
Yeah.
So those are the top issues. When you get to, do you find that people are interested in lowering taxes, lowering regulations?
Absolutely. That is a big, big part of my campaign, is no new taxes. No new taxes. I will go period, at all. And I would actually like to remove some of the taxes already in place, but then you got to go into the voting mechanisms and all that stuff. So that's just hard. But I will vote no on any new taxes, period.
And sadly, because there's some that are needed, I do the same thing on bonds.
Mm-hmm.
I say find your money in your bureaucracy.
You already have, like, what, $2 trillion a year available. Use it. No, wait, I got that wrong. That's the GDP. $604 billion a year. You have a lot. Use it.
Okay, how about the regulations? Where are you talking to people and they're complaining about?
Small businesses. Small businesses keep talking to me. We're getting regulated. Our taxes are too high. I know one woman who owns a rafting company up in Lake Tahoe, and her taxes are 54% right now.
Her taxes are
54%.
So that she does that terrible thing of adding federal, state, local, payroll.
Well, the state's taxes right now, state income tax is 13%, and they're trying to raise it to about 16 to 17% within the next few years. And that's just they keep raising it. People are going to leave. All the businesses are going to leave, including small businesses. And who do you have left? The ultra wealthy who don't pay anything anyway, and the poor people who can't afford it.
Yeah, when we focus on the income tax, because it's constitutional, unfortunately, we ignore that the guy who doesn't pay any income tax, if he's in gig employment, pays 15.5% tax, Social Security.
Yeah.
And the guy who's on a salary, the government's making him pay 7.5%, and his boss is paying his other 7.5%.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that's the boss is paying that 7.
I never liked the pay. That's part of the payroll tax, right? Yeah, I never liked any of that. I would like to just get rid of that altogether. I think that's a theft of money from both parties, and I want that gone.
Yeah, I tried to get friends of mine who are a little closer to Trump to get him to say, I've paid $2 billion in federal taxes in the last 20 years because that 7.5% that he pays on every employee
exactly.
is a tax that he pays to the federal government.
Huge a number right there.
And he gets to deduct that, so that may be a reason that his companies and he don't pay as much income tax, but that's not fair.
Yeah.
So regulation, any other particular regulations that are onerous to your constituency?
Well, personally, I don't. All the environmental regulations you place on farmers, you say, oh, you can only drive this amount. You can only use this much gas per. Your employees have to be trained in this type of environmental plan or something. I don't know the exact policies, but I know that they do.
About that.
I've heard that from people who are in farming, and they have way too many environmental regulations. And I've also heard that in Ventura County, they actually tell the farmers what to grow and where. And that is just out there for me. I don't see how that's even legal.
If there was facts supporting it, if they could say, by doing this, we've done this, but they don't. They have no correlation to any results.
Because they don't do most of them don't do things based on facts. They do them based on feelings. Oh, this makes me feel good. This makes me feel happy. Yay! And then they just ruin something else. Because they don't actually look at what they're doing and how it affects other people. That's why you get all these elitist politicians destroying jobs, destroying the economy, and that hurts the underprivileged people in the community, and honestly, the ethnic minorities in the community as well.
Yeah, well,
it's disgusting.
A lot of the people, including teachers, including particularly administrators, most teachers and administrators, most of the people talking to us didn't miss a day of pay.
Didn't miss a day.
So they put people out of business, but they're still collecting their $250,000 salary.
It's the whole rules for thee and not for me. Once again, to the elitism. They can live in their ivory tower, or while they want you on the streets begging for their help.
I don't think people realize that most Republicans believe what we are talking about.
I think they've just been lied to.
Pardon me?
I think they've been lied to.
Oh.
They've been lied to by a media that says, these people hate you for either the amount of money you have, the color of your skin, your gender. They try to play class warfare on us, and what I'm saying is no. You have the possibility to do whatever you want. You can do that. You can go out and start I want you to. I don't know how well it'll work in California because of all the regulation, but I would like you to go out and start your own business, go be able to buy a house for you and your family, create some kind of generational wealth.
We have a heavily Democrat Hispanic population. Are you seeing it with the Hispanic working people and business people any similar problem?
Absolutely. Just the other day, the United Latinos Vote posted an open letter to the Sierra Club stating,
I saw that.
Yeah, you saw that.
Newsprint.
They were saying, you want us to ban our gas cars while you drive around in your electronic Teslas that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, while we're scraping enough by to try to feed our kids, send our kids to school, and pay rent.
People don't realize those who make less than, say, $40,000 a year, they can't even afford to pay for a car that would be the same as the tax benefits. The $18,000 is in every Tesla that they're paying for.
Exactly.
They can't afford an $18,000 car.
They can't afford it.
And yet, it's we're sounding like real revolutionaries.
Yeah, evidently.
Yeah, it's time to tell them to go to hell and vote that way.
And the other one that they were saying was, why are you destroying all the good jobs in the county? Like, do you know how much, I'm assuming oil rigs, you're destroying all the oil jobs in Ventura County, Steve Bennett. Do you know who that helps? Farmers who are looking to get up in the world, move up from being a farmer or a work hand. They can go work on an oil rig,
$120,000,
$150,000 a year.
Yeah.
And you are stopping them from having the chance to actually do that.
Same thing in the North Santa Barbara County.
Same thing everywhere in California.
So
because of these politicians
they're kind of putting a lid on the working man.
Yeah.
You can make this much, but don't try and make more.
Yeah, and that's really, personally, I think, affecting the Hispanic communities more than the average community in this state.
You think you're getting a good response from Hispanics?
I will say, in Ventura, the majority of people actually out campaigning for me are Hispanic.
Right.
And young. Young Hispanic men are the main people out campaigning for me and putting my stuff out there.
Do you see people who were afraid to say, I'm
Yes.
coming out of the woodwork now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This one, I'm not going to say his name, but one guy, he was registered independent, on the fence. He doesn't like the Republicans, but at this point, he's looking at all these laws that are going in, all these taxes, all these regulations, all these housing bills, and he says, I might have to just move out of the state just to get a good job. He doesn't want to have to leave this place. Look at it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic here.
I have developed a new technique that has been shocking to me. And I, have my mask on. I'm at a store. I'm at a restaurant waiting, and I say, damn government making us do this. And it's 90% of the people start agreeing. And voluntarily, many of them say, don't tell anyone. Trump, I'm for Trump.
Yeah. I've gotten
down with the government.
I've
Trump.
gotten that before. My favorite question was,
Secret.
what's 2 plus 2?
Yeah.
And then I said, it depends on what your definition of 2 is.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I'm voting Republican this year.
You said something earlier that has become a intellectual test, and that is the difference between a liberal and a conservative. The liberals have a good heart, and they do everything based on feelings.
Yeah.
The conservatives do everything based on facts and then apply their good heart.
Yeah.
And it's really, people are beginning to see that.
At least I hope so. You never know these days, but.
Well, we'll see on election day.
Oh, we will, absolutely.
Yeah. There's
regardless of what happens, it will be the most entertaining election ever.
Yeah.
I will say that.
So, how are you campaigning? What are your volunteers doing? What are you, mainly social media and your own personal appearances, or do you have people passing out literature?
We've had to move straight to social media presence almost entirely, Facebook and YouTube, Twitter, because nobody wants to receive anything. The only place I've been able to actually pass any literature out was at the Cavalry Chapel in Thousand Oaks, and that's one of the only places people have actually been accepting my literature.
He's been sued by and had restraining orders. What's his name?
Rob McCoy. Pastor
Reverend
Rob.
McCoy, formerly mayor.
Formerly, yes. And he actually ran for state assembly as well. Yeah.
Years ago, yeah. And he has been defying a restraining order by a judge, and the judge ruled against him again last week, but made the county very angry because he wouldn't impose a fine.
Yep.
He just, you're wrong. And they said, well, there should be $1,000 a day. And, and he said no.
Yep. Well, he knew that if he hadn't done that, he would have had, I don't know how many angry Christians out on the street.
I'm disappointed in the faith community in that they have, in some ways, fallen subject to worshiping the false idol of the government.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, "Screw you, we're gonna take care of our own."
Wasn't that exactly what Christianity started off as? I don't need your rule. I have moral authority over this situation.
Well, and that's the way Judaism started out,
Yeah.
fighting the idol worshippers
Exactly.
and worshiping the one God. And so it's human nature, we keep slipping back to idol worship, whether it be billionaires or the government bureaucrats.
I always say for these people, they've lost, for a lot of these leftists, they have lost religion. God is their government now.
So how do you distribute literature? You give it to somebody and they pass it out?
That I do it based off of what the person wants. If someone asks for extras so they can pass them out to all their friends, I give it to them because I have a lot.
Yeah.
And if they
we
have
kept
a
waiting
lot,
for it to open up so we could hit the pavement, and
yeah, it just never happened.
yeah. Well,
Hopefully it'll
I
happen
think there's a
in a few
reason.
days. Yeah.
I hear in Arizona even, but Texas and Montana
Yeah.
and you know,
Yeah, you know that.
Tennessee, people are out campaigning, and they, of course, they are talking about going out and collecting ballots. You know, and when there's a protest, they
Yeah.
how
It depends on which side you're on.
are you running into any fear of violence like we're seeing in 5 or 6 major cities? In Ventura and Santa Barbara County, are people in the back of their mind saying, are those crazies going to attack my store? Well, they did in Santa Monica.
Yeah, they did in Santa Monica.
Yeah, are they going to attack my store?
I don't see that too much coming here, personally. But if they do, they better get ready for a fight. I'm not giving up my property so easily.
But other people you talk to aren't bringing that up.
No,
Okay.
I don't see it as a big issue here. But the defund the police is definitely a big issue.
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, I'm beginning to see news reports of, and we've got a good newspaper. And they even endorsed you.
They endorsed me.
Yeah. I've seen this idea that, we're not defunding the police, but then you'll see a report that sadly some crazy person who is mentally ill, but with a knife or a gun, the police have to go handle, and they've been trained.
Yep.
But you see that no medical personnel were there, no health person. The shooting in Hope Ranch of the son of Tarzan. They 3 times in this story, because of the lawsuit said, well, the medical personnel, they didn't wait for the medical personnel. I mean, he stabbed his mother to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it's just
At that point, do you really need to?
yeah, and
It's crazy.
as years ago we accepted that people high on a drug, PCP or what was it, salt something.
Fentanyl.
Yeah, and they have to be met with extreme violence, extreme takedown.
Extreme force.
Yeah, you can't take a chance, and because 1 or 2 police really aren't enough, and that's true all across the country.
Yeah, I've seen those videos of people on that. They take a taser shot and just walk it off like it's nothing. You can't.
And that's
deal with
nothing
these
new.
people. Yeah.
that's been a problem with law enforcement. It used to be the problem was the low caliber weapons in law enforcement. They had
Yep.
a 38 police special, and it
That
didn't stop a
that
crazy.
Did nothing.
Yeah. So they went to 45s and 9mm because that'll stop somebody.
Mhm.
And so it's a real problem of trying to turn law enforcement into a mental health situation.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, they are the last responder too.
Yeah.
What can people do to help you now? You got
They-
another 30 some days.
Almost. What you can do to help me is go to my website, colforassembly.com. Check out all the videos. We try to put up a new video every week, sometimes two. Check out all the news briefings. Go to my Twitter and Facebook from the website, and please donate whatever you can so we can get our voice out there and so we can help everyone, all the other candidates as well, get to the Assembly, State Senate, and all that.
Something we didn't want to just beat up on other people, but tell us the history of your opponent. We got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Let's see what I can do. Ta-da. All right, lightning round. He claims to be a economic wizard, quote unquote. He put the county of Ventura $700 billion into pension debt.
How did he do
sorry,
that?
$700 million into pension debt by just not being, well, evidently not being able to balance a checkbook.
Now, he's been as a supervisor, or did he have...
As a supervisor. He was the city, I'm pretty sure he was on city council for Ventura for 10 years, and he was also the principal and a teacher at Nordhoff, I believe.
And then he's been how long has he been a supervisor there?
20 years, since 2001, I believe.
Yeah, he claimed to be a moderate, but he passed one of the most onerous...
Good old SOAR.
Yeah. Restrictions on business and
Completely destroyed all the businesses, stopped
agriculture.
stopped housing rights, destroyed people's livelihoods occasionally.
They tell me we're
terrible.
almost done.
Oh, we're almost done.
Yeah.
Wait.
Doesn't an hour go quickly? I never have had a guest who didn't say we could have done another hour,
I can
and we
always
just
do
did.
another
Charlie, thank you. God bless you.
God bless.
God bless America.
God bless you as well.